Hello everybody, this is TechStack. Guys, we've had some interesting playtest, to say the least. I know I haven't streamed in a couple days. We were playtesting a lot last couple days, and also yesterday I got pretty serious about lag hunting, and that resulted in a game that allowed us to do this match. This chart shows the population on the server for each team. There was only 2 teams. It was a very large map we were playing on, but you can see that we had over 2,500 troops on one team. Now, the server was lagging pretty significantly at this point, but prior to the lag hunting, it would have been lagging this bad that we were seeing, or worse, with half the number of troops. So I think the changes that were made were significant as far as lag is concerned, at least for that type of map where it's very flat. But because of the game we were playing yesterday and seeing these numbers go astronomically high in one match, I think that the game needs to have a population cap. Now, I say those words knowing very well that having a large army is part of the fun of this, right? But at the same time, I need to be realistic and understand that there's only so much that we can do for lag. There's going to be a point where having thousands of troops all calculating their AI, all calculating their path, all calculating, where their next target should be, and it's going to have a limit at some point. So what I'm thinking, and this might be a multi-phased approach as to how we implement this, but what I'm thinking right now is that we implement a config option on the server that says this is the maximum number of troops that I want allowed on my server. So let me get some notepad out here. We can try and demonstrate what I'm talking about. So config max troops, right? And this isn't per team, this is on the server as a whole. So let's say we wanted to set this at 1,000. Okay, so 1,000 units. Then in the lobby screen, and then, again, this is going to be multi-phase. So I'm going to lay out what the total roadmap vision is for population cap, at least in my mind. So the total max troops is 1,000 on the server. And let's say when you go into the lobby screen, there's 2 teams. That would translate to 500 troops max per team. Okay? But if there was 4 teams, then we get 250 troops. Playing types per team. 4 teams. Right? And again, this is configurable by the server owner. So if someone has less efficient hardware or more efficient hardware than what I have, they can set it to 800, they can set it to 1200, they can set it to whatever they think their server can handle. And if this setting allows it to lag and they are fine with lag, I'm fine with it, right? My goal is not to make it so that there's really a hard limit on anyone. It's just for the playability that those people on that server are comfortable with, right? I think that there's some tolerance for some lag in this when there's a high number, but having a limit will just let it not get too bad. Okay, so that's the kind of like the phase 1 setup, I think, where server config divided by the number of teams equals the troop limit per team. Okay, so that's phase 1. Then there's going to be phase 2, I think, where we take this config, and this is the maximum that we can allow on the server overall, right? But if somebody has a very old computer that's not efficient, they might say, I can't handle 500 troops on my computer. In fact, knowing that there's going to be a battle between the teams, it's actually going to be 1,000 troops that could be on my screen at a time, right? That's a bit much for me. So I'm thinking on the lobby screen, in the lobby's options, there should be a option to let the players choose what the max cap is as well. But they are going to be limited to whatever the server owner calls as their max for the server. So a server max, right? We'll call this one server max as well. So the server max might be at 1,000, but that person might be like, you know what, I can only ever have 500. So lobby setting can go override what the server setting is to 500. They could choose anything from 0, which would be silly, right? All the way up to server max. That way they can it'll default into server max, but then they can lower it, basically is what that's about, right? And again, it would divide that setting, whichever the lower of the two is, by the number of teams. So 4 teams, take 500 divided by 4, whatever that comes out to be, that's how many each team would have. Okay, so that would be kind of a phase 2 approach. Then the next phase would still have those 2 options. And this one is kind of still up for debate whether we do it this way or not. But basically, the population cap for each team is driven off of the max end is driven off of these 2 settings. But at any given time, your population cap for this phase would basically fluctuate throughout the game. So I would like to introduce houses, right? And each house equals X population for a team. And the reason I want to do this is because it puts that population cap as a mechanic into the game and gives you strategies. So if each house equals 25 pop, then 4 houses equals 100 population. You could then recruit 100 troops. Those 100 troops could run around the world and do battles. As they die, they're replaced by additional troops. If you try and recruit 101 troops, it can't. It won't let you. But then if your enemy comes and attacks you and destroys one of your houses, you then have a population cap of 75. Because 3 times 25 is 75. That cap of 75 means that while you have 100 population, they're not going to die until you send them into battle and they fight or whatever, right? But when you send them into battle and they fight, your population starts to lower. And you go below 100. And you can't recruit replacements for them anymore. Because you don't have the house population cap, right? So your population cap is basically a soft limit at 75. So it's going to be the lowest of these settings. What is your max server? What is your lobby? And what is your house population total at that particular time? So this could mean that you could take out someone's houses, then take out their army, and they can't recruit their army again until they get those houses back down and the population cap back up. So hopefully I've described that well. Part of my reason for describing it like this on video is to describe it to myself and others for feedback. But also I want to start coding this into the game basically now because we need to have this. it was fun having that many troops on the server, but it was also very laggy and made it not as fun as it could have been, right? If the limit for the server should be 1,000 and it was set to that, we could have had a much more fun game, right? It wouldn't have been as laggy. It wouldn't have been. It was a 2.5 hour game. Now, partially because we were having fun, partially because of the lag, right? So let's see about going and doing phase 1 here, which is just the server population cap. We need to get an integer in our configs. And I think it should be an option, like we've set this can attack buildings. That's another new thing. I don't know if I put that on the stream yet, but there is now a config that the server owner can do that prevents a player from attacking an enemy building with their sword. Set it to true, they can. Set it to false, they can't. I think I defaulted this thing into not allow. Yeah, I set it to not allow it so that you just can't go in and whack somebody's building away immediately before you have troops. It sends them a message saying that you must use your troops or something like that to attack buildings. Okay, sorry, I had to take a drink. A server max population. And this is the population across all things on the server, right? Not just the team. So let's go ahead and set this up here. Sets the total population for the server. It's the total population cap for the server. Will be divided by the total number of teams in the game to set a team population limit cap. This is intended to help with lag by putting a maximum upper bound on the number of troops in the world. Okay. So let's call this server max troop. Yep, and just call it like that. We will default it to, I think RTSCraft can handle 1200. I have not confirmed it, but we will put in that. And I'm going to put in a max cap, an absolute max of like 10,000. Right? Because that'll be our range between 0 and 100 or 10,000. If somebody can come up with a computer that can run 10,000 of these, I would love to see it. Okay, what are we airing off here for? No, not define enum. We want one that looks like this. Nope, we want one that's a range. Define in range. Okay, so that creates our population cap itself. We probably need a construct to hold each team's population cap then, and we'll just set that at the start based on what this is. So in TSRTS, we should have a team info class already, right? Yep. And this team info class is probably where we'll hold what the max population is for each team. So there's one instantiated for each team. So private int team population cap. Okay, we'll create a setter and getter for this. Source setters and getters. We do both. And save this. I'm going to copy this to where our network packet is, because I believe we're already sending this team info to the clients. Yep, we are. So we're going to add in this variable as part of what we're going to send. Private int population cap. Packet type. So right here we're reading everything off of the stream. So this dot population cap equals buff dot read int. So I'm sending this to the client so that we have it available to the client to find. So we're going to have a team info already being defined and sent across. Okay, that'll work. We need to make one more adjustment to team info. So buff dot write int this dot that, and there we go. And we need to send info to client. So we need to pass this parameter as well. And in that, we need to define int population cap. And we're going to grab this portion. Do a dot set that. Set team population cap to whatever that team population cap variable is. Like that. There we go. So that gets the information to the client basically. Now, I think I said, cancel. On this one, we need to fix this, where this is being called from. So we have a team info being passed with a team name. So on the constructor for team info, wherever it is, let's go to outline. Team info, here we go. Oh, there is no. Really? Is that the only constructor we have? Go to definition, declaration. Huh. Well, where are we calling this? No. Where are we calling this at? Open call hierarchy, please. That is the only place we're calling this. What? Hey, we're calling it the packet buffer. Wait a minute. We have to send this to the client. We have to be. Because we're sending it for other things. The research and everything. Like, what's your current research? So let's go to utilities, because I'm a little confused why that's not showing up in the call hierarchy. Oh, maybe I need to adjust my filters again. No. Huh. What is it I'm thinking? There was a filter I'd applied to the... There it is. Filters. I doubt that's gonna do it. There we go. Send team to client. I knew there was a place we were sending it over. So team info array. We're just sending the whole array. Okay, we're not extensioning a new one. That makes sense, I guess. I should have thought that through better. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, so we need to set that somewhere to a value. And And we need to set that probably on game start, because we'll know how many teams there are at that point. So in our outline here, give starting item is going to be called where the game is actually starting. So start game, there we go. Okay, so we don't know how many teams are actively playing, right? How many teams have players? Do we? Nope, we don't. I don't know we're ever going to do that countdown. It works pretty well like it is. Okay, so we need to loop through all of the players in the game. Or all of the teams. Let's go through all of the teams first. Do it that way. So we know there's going to be 4, right? And can we team.get membership, display name, suffix, yeah, okay. This might be a little bit more difficult than I originally thought to figure out how many there are. We'll capture it in the team info array as we're building this out. That's our population count. So private int team player count. Okay. And we'll get setter and getter for that. Wherever I've got it in here. Source. Setters and getters. So let's get the team info array. It should be safe here. I think they're already populated at this point. So we will give them their items. I don't think there's anything team specific in that. So let's in here, if player entity .get team is not null, so they are on a team, and player entity dot what's the mode called? Spectator. They're not spectator. Nope. So is spectator not, so they're not on spectator, so they're part of a team. Then we can get that team. RTS dot get team info array. Name string team name equals that, and we're going to say team name, so int team index equals team enum dot get ID from name, team name. There we go. So that gives us the index that we can put in here, team index dot get team player count, and we need to set a player counts variable somewhere. I suggest we do it out here. int team. Wait, we don't do it that way. We do this. We add 1 to that. And set it. So that's just going to increase the player count on that particular team. Okay, so that means at the end of this loop, we know how many players are on a team, for each team that are only in on a team specifically and not in spectator. So we can use this team info array to know how many players there are and do another loop through all of them to figure out how many teams in total we've got playing. So now that that's defined, if our for over array, the array name is that, and we say boop I dot get team player count, and we'll just say int team count equals 0. So team count, we need to say if this is greater than 0, team count plus plus. That should work in theory. Okay, so now we need another place to say what the team population cap is, right? And that is, and again, on the team info array. So I think this needs to be its own method so that we can abstract it out of the way. Private, static, void, get team count, get active team count. Or get teams with players count. Get team with player count. And we return team count. And this should be an integer. And then we can call this in here where we need to. Int team count. And this is looping through all the teams still, but I think we want to do it this way. Not do this. What to do? Set population. Set team population cap. There we go. And the population cap is going to be the config dot max server population divided by team count. Let's rename team count to make it in line with what we like. There we go. And we need to do a dot get on this. There we go. So we've now officially set what the population cap should be for a given team. This is all done on the server. We're good there. When we send the packet to the client knows about what the population cap is automatically because we've set it into the network packet and handled that properly. Now we need to actually implement the limitations on the server so that things won't spawn if the population cap is met. Now, we need to be very careful about that because we want to check the population cap before we try and spend the resources, right? So we wouldn't want to try and buy a minion and not be able to buy that minion because we've got went past our population cap. So where should we apply this? Should we do it on the buy screen? We don't have to. It might be good to do it in the barracks, for example, and the other buildings that are trying to spit out a unit. So let's look at the barracks code. It's looking at its queue here and trying to spawn a unit for the team and then replenish the queue if it can spawn a unit and we have the resources for it and all that stuff, right? So I think encapsulating this whole thing with a check for the team's population cap is probably the right move, because you could queue up 15 more troops. They won't spit out because you're at the population cap, but they'll stay in the queue for as soon as your population cap drops down. It also means that the barracks isn't going to try and spawn it, the one you've already bought, and then try and spend more of your resources because it's got the infinite queue turned on. So let's do it there like I just described. So if, well, we need to know what the current population of the team is, don't we? So let's also create a variable or method, I guess, to allow us to know what that is. Because we already know somewhere in here, I thought we knew what the number of each unit is for a team. We know the barracks, armory. Wait a minute, where is it? So we were capturing the stats for how many troops are on the server. I thought it was in this class that we captured it because it's a team thing. Maybe we're doing it at an overall level. Let's take a look at the server event. We couldn't be doing it at the overall level. So server events. There is some logging that we do in server events here. We're in the waiver survival stuff still. And the logging is at the bottom of this. Unit stats. Yeah. Team info array is what gets passed into it. Team info. And we're pulling out get unit minion count minion. Okay. Unit count minion. The heck? Why am I not seeing it in here? Oh. Okay. Well, simple enough. So the way we get a current population, add all those numbers up. So let's add a new method. Public int get current population. I'm just gonna copy all these so I get them all and I don't miss any. We just start adding. We just return that. So minion, archers, lancers, pikemen, trebuchets, knights, advanced knights. That works for me. Get current population. Go back to our barracks here. And say if tsrts dot team info array. Would be really helpful if we had the team index here and we could use that everywhere instead of looking it up 700 times, but optimization for later. team info array dot get population. It current population is greater than or equal to team population cap. Wait, we want to say if it's less than. And if it is, we do all of the things, basically. Cool. Our population cap is now coded in for the barracks. Let's add it for the archery range. Let's add it in for the stables. And the siege workshop. And we're good. Okay, so there is now a limit to how many can be in the world. Now, there's no feedback to the player whatsoever that they have reached a point where they're at the population cap. That's what we need to do next. And I think the best way to do this is to display it on the overlay. So let's go into the client render GUI overlay stuff. Render overlay, there it is. Render overlay. So we need to display we've got a team info array here, right? So team info. We've got what the information is we need available to us. And somewhere on the screen, we're already drawing all of the resources, right? And I think it would be beneficial if we had some graphic to indicate what the population is. Hey, Musty. Welcome to the stream. We're working on my RTS mod right now, and just setting a way for server owners to put a population cap into the game. Please add me your friend. There's no friends on YouTube, man. There's no friend system on YouTube. Unless they've just added it this week or something. I wasn't aware of it. Let's create a 16 by 16 pixel image. Or try to. Let's create this much bigger. Or view it much bigger. And let's make it like a bluish. We'll be biased towards the blue team, I guess. Make a picture of the arms. Leave a 1 block gap. There's his chest. Let's go a little higher with it. Shoulders. Do a different color for the face. No, Ramon. No, Reaper, I'm not going back to sleep. I need to get up earlier, man. Gotta go to work tomorrow. I'm gonna be up 2 hours earlier than what I got up today. So I can exercise and all that. There we go. Let's get some black just for the eyes. No, let's get some blue for the eyes. The light blue. Boop. What? Nope. Wrong key. Let's get some white then to put for beside it. Let's skip the nose and go for the mouth instead. We're not going to see a ton of this detail in this thing, so it should be fine. And let's grab this color, we'll get some shading on it. Let's grab that color, we'll do it the other direction for shading. Boop. Grab his shirt, do the same. Go towards yellow when you do the lighter side. Just pull it down a bit. There we go. I guess we can do some shading on this. And we gotta grab the original color. Oop. Original color. Go towards blue, which when you're on blue, it's kind of hard to go more blue, but a banana would look nice on that shirt. Okay. Oops. We go from there. Banana Man. So this is like an icon we're gonna put at the top of the menu, man. So when you go in to the game, pick a team, go ready, start, and up here at the top, I'm gonna have another thing that is this character, basically. And it's just your population cap, that's all it is. I don't really know why I'm going to this much effort to even draw this right now, because it's not needed. But we'll save it. Oh, save as PSD. So we're now pop cap icon. There we go. And this is for rendering the research stuff, apparently, because this is a research key. We're binding the texture of the background overlay stuff. We are getting items and drawing their pieces there. Okay, so we need to render something up there by that. Should it be... Here's once a normal man, but one day he got bit by a banana, now he's a banana. Oh, one of those, huh? I think it should be over here on the right side. My only hesitation in doing that is if I go game mode, go to allow me to do game mode, spectator, we've got this going on. And I would like to show this population cap in here as well. So maybe these team names need to be adjusted over or something, I don't know. Make the old Batman song and change his name to Banana Man. No. Draw string with shadow, and our X offset should be in position-ish to do this. And we're going to add the ti.get populate. Get current population. Then add a space / ti get max team population cap. Okay, and let's run this. So we're going to kill this and run this. And let's see what happens. So we should have the config. The config should calculate how many players, or when we start the game, that should calculate how many players are in the world. Take that max config divided by the number of players and give us a population cap. Yeah. Or not the number of players, the number of teams. So Reaper, this means if we were playing a 3-on-1, the team with 3 would have the same population cap as the team with 1. Because it's a team population, and it's ensuring that the team population cap is even across all teams. Nice for you, for the person that's been playing the 3v1. Right? You don't get just stomped because there's 3 times the units coming at you. Okay, so we do have a 0 out of 0 up here. Awesome. Ready, start. Still shows 0 out of 0. Okay, what happened? It did flash to of 1,000 briefly, and I don't know why it was briefly. We might be reinstantiating this somewhere and overwriting it. So let's look at the call hierarchy for that. It's going to be all over the place. Well, it's none of this cooldown stuff. It's none of the decrease stuff. Add resources to team. I don't think that's the case. Nope. Add unit counts. Nope. Not overriding anything, just calling methods on the classes. Calling methods on the classes. The team play account's the new one we just added. Has team. Nope, we're good there. On living death. Nope. On load, that could be. So on load, we are overwriting it with a new team class, but that should be okay. It is not the morning, Yamong. Oh, it's my morning. It's hard to say. I put morning on it based on my time zone so that people know the order to watch these in if they're watching them later. Server tick event. This one's going to have it all over the place, but I don't think we're overwriting anything. No, we don't. Send team info packet to client. We are setting the population cap based on the population cap that's in there, so maybe we've got a bug in our network code. We'll come back to that. No. I don't believe I know what Among is. Oh, okay. You're calling the guy who's coding on stream Among, huh? So we're not having it set up anywhere. Okay. Yeah, I googled it. So let's take a look at our network packet. I doubt it's in there, but let's just take a second, set eyes to it. Second look. So reading the population cap. Are we sending it? We are sending it. And we're setting that same value to the method that's on the client. So let's do this. And put a breakpoint there. Yeah, other breakpoints set up in the world, unfortunately, so let's get rid of them. Wait survival and living entity, remove you. Let's run again. So in a few seconds we'll get a breakpoint, so it should be every 10 seconds that one is sent. The packet is sent over. He was a regular, but on a field trip, he ate a red-eyed banana. Now he's a banana man and fights criminals and works for the newspaper at daytime. Rude. What? Reaper, you were so creative, man. I don't know where you get this stuff from. Why is this packet not happening? It should be, because the server event should send the packet over, I believe. No thank you. Use Vedabat. Oh, we're not sending the team info to the client unless there's a change in information. Which, no, we're sending it right there. What the heck? Let's put a breakpoint there. That should at least be running. Let's see, can I open a GUI? Am I on a breakpoint somewhere and I didn't realize it still? Let's do a chest. Ah, we're on a breakpoint somewhere still. So let's... You can't open a chest, that means the server is suspended, but not the client. There we go. Now it should happen. There we go. Okay, so what is our team population cap? It is 0. Why is it 0? No! How did it get set to 0? Well, we're obviously reading it in that way, but this method must have it as 0 then, if that's the case. So let's go and run this again. We're gonna get the packet a few times or whatever. Try to catch up, and then the server is going to do that, right? And as it does that, what is the team info information? Let's try and extract it here. Oh, cool. I know what it is. This dot that equals ti dot get team population cap. If we don't tell it what the population cap is, it doesn't know what it is. Imagine that. Remove those breakpoints, run all the code. Wait 10 seconds for it to happen again. Just still not sending? Yeah, we should get another breakpoint here in a minute. Or we still have our server code paused and I didn't realize it. Let's check that too. No, it's finally ran. Okay. So step over all these things. Our population cap is 0. What team is this? Doesn't say. Oh, we can do it here. Blue. We are on team blue. Okay, and in here, it's still 0. Why is it 0? Okay, we're going to step into that call and look at the array itself. So where we're putting things. This is client side though. There are they all 0s? Population count 0. 0. Wondering if we're sitting it on the wrong team or something. 0. 0. Okay, so it's not that. Let's stop in this code next time. Team info array, this is server side now. It's a client side. Population count 0, that's fine. Only one of these is going to have a value. Huh. They're all 0s. I probably am setting the wrong thing somewhere. So we've got two variables, right? One that's the team population cap, and one that is the current population. team info. Team population cap. Okay, let's see. So we're not sending this information to the client either. That's something we'll need to do. With this team population cap, the second number should be valid. Where is it? Let's call hierarchy right now. Okay, so get and set team population cap. So where are we setting it? And sending it to the client, we're setting it. So this is the client receiving a packet. It's setting it there, so we want that. And we're setting it in start game. And we're setting it to team count, which would have been 1, divided by this value. Let's see if we can get a watch on that. Maybe that's not set to something I thought it was. Maybe I defaulted it too low or something. Cool. Why is that not showing as what it is? It's invalid? Okay, well, let's stop the game altogether. Let's go to our utilities class where we're starting the game and put a breakpoint here because I want to see what this population cap is actually getting set at, because maybe something is not working in this code. Oh, run. We're already sending it to the client. Interesting. Okay. Blue, ready, start. So our team count currently is 1, as expected. And we've got a value of 1200. So 1200 divided by 1 should be 1200. As it is. So this should happen 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're on the client. Let's set a breakpoint over on the server side. We got one there, okay. Oops, we need to run this. Okay, so it does show 1200 briefly. And apparently we still broke at a breakpoint somewhere. There we go. Okay, now we're in here, and this team info array $1,200 for its population cap. 1,200 for its population cap. 1,200 again. And 1,200 again. So it is correct at the moment. Let's just turn off breakpoints for a bit and see what happens over time. It's 1,200. Either we already fixed it somehow, or it was just a weird bug with I already had the game running or something, I don't know. But it's apparently working. Okay, so the next thing is, when we produce a troop, we need that number to update. The first number, the 0. We also probably should scoot that over a bit on the screen to make room for the other 1200 that'll be there. Once you're at that cap, right? So in our render overlay, while we're letting this run, because it's running the background, let's spit out some troops too. Let's request 5 troops. What? We're getting an update? Awesome. I didn't think we actually sent the whole team info packet over with all of its bits. Oh, awesome. I'm already doing it. I don't have to code anymore. It's working. Let's just take a peek what I did in the packet, because I was not expecting that at all. So we are sending a team info into this, but we're not getting the unit cap or unit counts to the client. Where's that coming from? Get resource array, get current research and all the research information. How does the client know what it is? Team options. That's not going to be it. Yeah, it's something different. Unit chains, rally point, owner change, GUI. There's no packet to the client about how many. Team name. Yeah, it's just about resources. How is it getting the population count for that first number? It knows there's 5 minions somehow. Perhaps it's client because I'm not on a dedicated server. That doesn't seem right. There is definitely 5. Let's kill one of them, see if the numbers update. And it does. So that could be a way for you to know what your total population is in the world at any given time for your team. I've got the money. Let's start researching archery. Put this down. Boop. Research. It's going to spam a bunch of research centers so we get the research happening very fast, so that we can do this test. Because what the test is going to be is whether or not the archery range updates it as well when archers spit out. And yes, it doesn't include these guys because they were loaded in before. Want the number go negative? That's probably what's gonna happen. Negative. It's a relative number as far as the game is concerned as to what the population is in the world at one time. Get that archery range on my bar. Get rid of all these other ones because I got too many things. Let's also start researching Lancers so we can do that research. So we got the archery range down so we can recruit archers now. Let's do 3 of them, so that should set our population to 2 when all is said and done. Because it's at -1 right now, so we add 3 to that, it would be 2. Okay, it's going to 0, we got a guy come out. I'm really puzzled as to how this is updating. I suspect it will not update when I throw it on the dedicated server. Hey, SD Bean.
Hello.
Yep, yep.
Banana man.
Thank you. That was worth coming and saying, I'm sure.
It was. Now I'm freezing. I'm going back to bed. Good night.
Good night, good morning, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna let this run and see if this population can go above the cap. Hello?
Hello.
That was fast!
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yes?
Nothing.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something.
Was, but nothing came to mind.
Gazer, I'm adding population caps, that's what I'm doing. So you can probably see the number up here. That is your population cap. Subject to change where it's going to display on the screen and all that. That's where it is for now. Now, as I do this, placing down these barracks running around the world, we will come across a very large number of troops. Ignore them. They were here before and they're not part of the population cap or don't. Because the mod doesn't take into loading and reloading into account whatsoever. Because it's not meant to play played like that. So this also means, like, as your troops die in the world, you have a feel for how many troops you have. Right? So you know if you're losing or winning a battle just by that number in the upper right hand corner screen. Let's say you're not producing troops or whatever because you're at your cap. You see that number go down, you know you're under attack. So this gives you some information that you didn't have before, right? How many troops are back at your base when you've just lost a battle? All of those things are known. Okay, hopefully that many of them should get near that number fairly quick. We'll see. I'm being messaged by my wife that I need to get our kids up. So I might need to stop the streaming here in a minute. I would like to see that number reach what we're after and stop before I do it. But we'll see. Guess I should have set the population cap much lower for my development purposes. But you know. And Gazer, the way this is working, it is taking into account the number of teams that are actively playing. So a player on a team and what's the word? They're not a spectator. Add more minions in the queue. Why? I've got an infinite. It won't build any faster. It's not like having 5 things in your queue makes each barrack spit out 5. They all are working through the queue. Okay, I can try it. What the heck? Oh, that's the client bug. There's a client bug where if you run it single player, the queue doesn't want to go and add up, but it works fine on the server, so I've never tried to fix it. Is that what you wanted me to see, Gazer? Also, with this many barracks, the queue's getting overwritten pretty stinking fast. Okay, we're at 1200. It's not increasing. These latest barracks here should not spit out anymore. Now, if you were asking about the queue adding to this cap, it does not. It's the production of the unit. It's the spawning of the unit that adds to it. So you could queue up troops now if this bug wasn't here. and increase your total cap, or increase your total that's there. You can buy them, right? It's actually buying them at the top of the screen. You can see the number changing. But they won't spit out. And I've spawned too many. This world is now probably trash. So let's do this. /kill at E type RTS minion, like that. Now it went negative because there was more in the world than there should have been. So it'll come back up positive, but you can see it immediately starts spawning troops again. That's a lot of barracks. But TPS is fine, it was the number of troops, I think. So 1200 is a ton of troops for my computer. So at the beginning of this stream, I explained the different phases that I'm going to try and implement this in. We're in phase 1, where we just set up basically this stuff. Phase 2 is going to be a lobby setting that you and I discussed, Gazer. And then phase 3 is going to be houses added in. I think this, or maybe phase 1 or phase 2 might be where we release, because I don't know that we'll want the houses in for sure. Right, it's maybe a house thing. I kind of want to play a few times with the population cap by itself. Okay, we're almost 1200 again. I just want to make sure it stops at the right number. It should. We'll expect it to. Just want to make sure like you can't get 1201. 2 barracks we're trying to at the exact same time. Yeah, okay, it didn't work. Alright. Now, I need to go do some stuff around the house. People are starting to wake up. I'm going to stop the stream here. I might come back later. We might try and do a playtest sometimes today, guys, if you're around. Yeah. Bye, everybody.